I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. It's December 8th at 3 o'clock. Copy of Nebraska Opens Meeting Act is located on the north wall of the boardroom. In attendance today, we have all 5 commissioners, Burmeister, Klug, Warren, Mixon, and Kelly, our County Administrator Dan Owens, and Deputy County Administrator Scott Bovick. Our Deputy Clerk and Register of Deeds, Renee Landsman. Our County Assessor, Dan Pittman, and representing the Treasurer's Office is our Deputy Treasurer, Dan Templeton. If you would, please silence your cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a couple items, one actually, on the consent agenda. Unless somebody wants to see that move to the regular agenda, take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Okay, I'll second it. Motion by Commissioner Klug, a second by Commissioner Kelly. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, motion carried.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the minutes from the December 1st meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, abstain, Mixon, motion carried.
Okay, 5.2 are tax corrections 16676 through 16680. Dan Pittman, County Assessor.
Good afternoon. All of these are corrections for personal property. So if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them.
Questions for Dan? Thanks, Dan.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, it's 3:02. I'm going to put the Board of Equalization into recess, and we'll come back after the county board meeting to do the executive session. Standing by when you guys are ready for the commissioners meeting.
Yes, sir.
Good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's the 8th of December. It's 3:03. All 5 commissioners are present, along with Dan Hoynes and our Deputy Clerk, Renee Landsman. Commissioners' comments, and the Nebraska Opens Meeting Act still on the north wall there. Commissioner Burmeister.
Just give my condolences to the family of Frank Coomer, who was kind of an icon in Bellevue, who we lost last week.
No comments, thank you.
Jim.
None.
Dan.
Yeah, briefly, I do the Sarpy leadership. I see we have a couple of the students. They want to stand to be recognized part of this year's Sarpy leadership class. Come on, I know you were in here, right? Maybe not. Any Sarpy leadership people? I guess they didn't come. My eyes aren't as good as they are. I thought they were.
Well, that's anything else?
I'm good, sir. I'm going to stop digging.
I'm good too. Let's press right into the consent agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. If any of the commissioners want to see those move, make the motion. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve as published.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Warren and a second by Mixon. Any further discussion or questions? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, we've got several public hearings coming up here. The first one is Resolution 405 for a change of zone. And this is for a subdivision known as the Hills of Aspen Creek. and the Hills of Aspen Creek replat. Looks like Scott Bovick, our Deputy County Administrator, is going to be handling this public hearing for this change of zone.
Thanks, Commissioner. The Hills of Aspen Creek is an existing subdivision. It's been there for a couple of years. As the development's built out, they discovered that they needed some flexibility on setbacks, and so we directed them to come back and do a planned development. What that does is allows them some flexibility, I think, on about a dozen lots. Planning Commission reviewed this and recommended approval, and I believe Randy Cusack with Lamper-Nearson representing the developers here if you have any questions.
Questions for Scott or Lamper-Nearson? Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody want to come and address the board either for or against this matter? Whoa. Mr. Sullivan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm just here to answer any questions and just maybe add a little color to this. I represent the developer on this. The backyard setbacks were a little too narrow for them to put in a covered, he wants to put covered patios on these houses. So the covered patio encroaches into the backyard setback. And instead of, the reason for doing this, he didn't want to move these houses forward 5 feet because the whole rest of the neighborhood has a front setback of 30 feet. So he wanted more uniformity on the front, as well as it allows for better stacking so you don't have cars blocking sidewalks or encroaching out into the street. So that's the purpose for it. And I don't know where that video or that diagram went, but it is basically the houses in that southwest corner that you see in the purple and then kind of an orange color. Mm-hmm. The rest of them are going to be typical lots. But we had to put it over the whole area because you can only do a percentage of the area.
Richland Homes, is that Jerry Torzon?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and Randy Cusack, the engineer, is here as well if you have any questions for him.
Questions for Mr. Sullivan? Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to address the board on this matter? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and take a motion on Resolution 405.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Commissioner Klug. Any further discussion or comments? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, the next item 5.2 is also a public hearing on Resolution 406. This is for a conservation easement on a parcel of land down on 19804 Sac Road, which is generally in the very southern part of the county, west of Highway 50, east of Highway, well, I guess it's north of Highway 31. Scott Bovick.
Sure, thank you, Commissioner. The Martin property has requested to put their property into a conservation easement. This is something that's permitted under our zoning, and then they would work with the Nebraska Land Trust to put it into a permanent easement. What this map reflects is other properties that have done that in the area. The Planning Commission did hold a hearing on this and recommend approval, and I know that Dave Sands from the Nebraska Land Trust is here to speak if you have questions.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dave Sands. I'm the Executive Director of the Nebraska Land Trust. Give you a little bit of background on this project. Actually, Sarpy County played an indirect role in the selection of this project because about 4 years ago, we formed a local advisory committee for the Lower Platte Valley where we solicited input from landowners, communities, people in tourism, and each of the 3 counties on what we should be looking for in conservation easements. And Sarpy County participated on that advisory group. Bruce Fountain was the representative back then. At any rate, over the course of a year, this group came up with a scoring protocol that allows us to rank properties. And we went out in 2018 and scored 6 different properties in the Lower Platte Valley. And ultimately, this was the project that the advisory committee recommended to our board and was selected. I can tell you this is like a lot of our other easements in the area, in that it has beautiful oak hickory woodlands along a spring-fed stream. The stream even flows over little limestone waterfalls. It's kind of down in its own little valley, so you get in there, you feel like you could be in upstate New York somewhere. I mean, you just feel like you're a million miles from Omaha. There's archaeological sites on there, documented by History Nebraska. There's an old barn built on the property on its original sandstone foundation, and it's probably at least 100 years old because someone had scrawled a 1927 date into the sandstone foundation. Right now, most of it's in grass through CRP, but it could be cropped again if that's what the landowner desires. And like most of our easements, it allows flexibility for landowners to do better through things that don't impact conservation, things like a small shop on the property or a cafe or a bed and breakfast. Of course, everything would be subject to Sarpy County zoning rules and regulations, but we do allow for that sort of thing. So with that, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but would be happy to answer any questions.
This is new to me, this topic. So am I understanding that the landowner submits to Nebraska Land Trust for these easements? Is that how that process works?
Correct. Landowners approach us if they're interested in conservation easements, and then, like I said, we go out and score properties, so we determine our priorities, and this was the top priority in that bunch. Evelyn Martin is probably approaching her late 80s right now, which is another reason she couldn't be here today, and the two grandkids that we've been working with are both working, so I'm what you get.
So
Happy to have you.
the landowner keeps control of the property.
Correct. The only thing landowner is giving up are the rights to subdivide and develop, but they can continue to farm it, stays on the tax rolls as a farm, and it stays in the economy because it's in agriculture.
And if they sell it, the easement runs with the land.
Correct.
Nobody else can develop it in the future either.
Correct, yeah, easement runs with the title.
And that's permanent?
It is in perpetuity.
Okay.
So do you know anything about that cemetery right to the south of it?
I know it's historic. I know the landowners have talked about it, but I've not been on it.
Okay.
You're not talking about the Ball Cemetery?
I didn't know there was a cemetery there.
Yeah, there is.
I went and looked on, Google Earth, and you could see a few markers in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of old cemeteries back in
Okay.
old pioneer cemeteries.
Well, thanks. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to address the board on this matter? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and take a motion on 406.
Motion to approve 406.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Mixon. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, 5-3 is another public hearing on Resolution 404, and this one may seem familiar to you because we've discussed it before. It's a final plat for subdivision known as Nielsen Point. Scott Bovick.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. Again, Nielsen Point was platted. You approved it in July. The property owner failed to file the final plat. We have a 90-day window where they can file that. You've seen before that sometimes they ask for an extension, but the property owner just neglected to file it. We did. We do require them to resubmit, but when they did, we let them pay a reduced fee because they had already gone through the process once. The Planning Commission recommended approval on this, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions on Nielsen Point? Anybody want to address the board on this matter? Okay, I don't see anybody coming forward. I'll close the public hearing, take a motion on 404.
Motion
Sorry,
to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Warren, a second by Commissioner Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, regular agenda, we're going to approve the minutes from the December 1st meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, abstain, Mixon, motion carried.
6-2 is Resolution 394. It's award the low bid for a road aggregate to Martin Marietta for crushed rock and Lyman Ritchie Corporation for gravel for 2021. Scott?
Yep, thanks. I told Beth that I would handle this for her. So we do, from time to time, bid out our materials for the county engineer's office, and Denny Wilson's here as well. Martin Marietta is the low bidder on the crushed rock, and Lyman Ritchie is the low bidder on gravel. We've, unfortunately, gravel has not been really available these last few years, but what we are looking at doing, and we've had some conversations with Denny, something we may pursue during the budget process, is trying to purchase more gravel than we have in the past. The nice thing about gravel is it does aid in dust control on some of the roads, and even though it's a more expensive unit cost, we think that'd be a valuable investment. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we do recommend approving these two low bidders.
Questions for Scott or Denny?
Motion to approve 394.
Second.
Motion by Warren, and second by Mixon. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
6-3 is Resolution 407. It's a standard construction management general contractor services agreement for Connect Sarpy, 180th Street and Giles Road, to Hawkins Construction for $250,000. Scott Bovick.
Thank you. We're excited to get to this point with our Connect Sarpy 180th and Giles project. Denny Wilson, county engineer, is here, and Tom Crockett with Hawkins is also joining us. But I do want to spend a little bit of time walking through some slides talking about this project. As you're very well aware of it, but the public is starting to learn more about what we're doing here. So really today on your agenda is to approve construction manager general contractor contract with Hawkins Construction. The CMGC process is something that's new to Nebraska, and actually this county board had a large role in convincing the state that we needed to make this delivery method available to counties for road projects. When you come to a project or projects that we're facing on Connect Sarpy, there's so many different dynamics and complexities that the CMGC process is really well suited for it. An innovative approach where we're selecting the contractor based on qualifications and resources, not just low bid. So we think with Hawkins Construction, we have a really good partner. This actually is the first Nebraska CMGC contract, and first one in the state. And so there was a lot of building this from the ground up, and between Hawkins, Olson, our partner, Bonnie Moore at the county attorney's office, and Beth Garber, who handles purchasing, it was exciting to see us kind of build this for the first time, and it's definitely a model for other entities to follow. And then this is our largest roadway project that the county's ever done, so historic time here. The CMGC process requires a selection committee. A statute requires a selection committee that actually makes these decisions. Commissioner Warren sat on that committee. We're fortunate to have Dr. Kevin Riley, the retired superintendent from Gretna Public Schools, Steve Perry from the city of Gretna, who serves as the city engineer, Denny on there, and myself. And so we were the 5 voting members. And then we had lots of support from the rest of the staff to provide advice and guidance and help us through the process. We had 3 firms originally submit. We had 2 firms that we interviewed, and then Hawkins was the firm that was selected. And we all know the Hawkins name very well, but to get into more detail why the group felt it was a unanimous decision to select Hawkins was the local team and the local resources. We felt that was really important for this project. Collaborative approach. They have an experience working with all the partners and stakeholders that are going to be involved. With all those project partners, we'll talk about them in a second. And then Tom Crockett himself, calling him out here, a trusted project manager that, we
Tom
believe.
build that slide?
Yeah, he did. I was supposed to put his name, I think I was supposed to put his name in bold, but I didn't do that. But
Hawkins made it and built us.
But again, when you get on these big projects, you want to have one person that you can point to lead it. And so Tom will be that person. We look forward to working with him on this. You're very familiar with the projects, 9 miles of roadway, several bridges, and lots of action out there. So we need to make sure that we minimize impact to people and get the project done as soon as we can within budget. Again, project partners that you can see there, and lots of expertise and regulatory agencies, folks we need to coordinate with. And then a special note on the area developers, 11 pending developments in that area. All those developments will actually contribute funds towards these road costs. So we appreciate them, their patience with us, bringing their developments to the table, being willing to partner on these projects. So it's really set up well. So next step. So today what you're approving is the CMGC contract with a commitment to do pre-construction services in the amount of $250,000. Over the next couple of months, the county, Hawkins, and Olson will work through and develop what we call the guaranteed maximum price. There will likely be several packages. I'm told maybe as little as 2, maybe as many as 4, where you'll approve a guaranteed maximum price and get that project to construction phase. You will see in the near future an agreement with Olson Associates or Olson to do the construction administration. They'll have Lamper Nearson and E&A working with them on that because those firms are helping with the development. All pointing towards construction beginning in spring, summer 2021. And the nice thing going through this process, learning with Hawkins that what we projected to cost $70 million plus over 3 to 4 years, we now are hearing that it will be more like $60 to $65 million in 2 to 3 years, and that is reinforcement that the CMGC process is the way to go. Financing plan, Bill Conley and his team, the fiscal office, have prepared a financing plan on how we will be able to cover the cost of this project. We will be issuing bonds. We won't issue bonds until we need them, and we'll expect Hawkins and Olson to provide us with quarterly spend projections that will let us know when we really need to have the money to move forward with the project. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
No questions, just a comment. I'd like to thank, the board and all the participants for getting this thing across the finish line. It just seemed like yesterday we were trying to, build legislation to get the authority to do this, and I think it's going to pay huge dividends for the county moving forward, especially on this project because the bonding environment right now is perfect for large projects of this nature. And so it looks really good for a bright future for that area out there.
Tom, did you say you wanted to speak?
Okay, I guess I'll take a motion to approve it.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on 407 by Commissioner Warren and a second by Mixon. Discussion?
If I may, Mr. Chair, just really quickly. So you mentioned it seems just like yesterday. I pointed this out to you, and we're doing some of this for the public, but not just this project, but the jail project you've all spent a lot of time on this week. So in the last 3 years, this board is building an $80 million jail and $60 million worth of roads and not raising taxes. And I think that's a message that sometimes we get into the weeds on it. So I just wanted to point, that's pretty substantial work as a collective body.
Thanks, Stan, for that. Appreciate a comment. Any other comments? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, these next series of agenda items are very familiar. That we're on our final reading for several ordinances. The first one, 6.4, is 398, which is the ordinance to establish a law regarding disorderly conduct and includes firework use and a few other things. There was some discussion about amendments, so I'll have Andrea Gosnold-Parker, our Deputy County Attorney, address those.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I have spoken with Chief Deputy Greg London regarding these amendments to the ordinances, as well as actually the original versions of these ordinances. And currently the documents that are before you have on them a generalized amount, which is allowed by statute for the fees or the fines for the offenses. In order to provide the information to the deputies, if they are in a situation in which they would be issuing a ticket on one of these offenses, they need a more specific number. And so the amendments to be made today is just to set a specific dollar amount for those fines. That will apply to the disorderly conduct ordinance, as well as the next item, the public nudity ordinance. Because the county has already published the maximum amount and said that the fine would be up to that amount, any amount you set below that is within the acceptable range.
So by setting a fine, does that mean they don't go to court? They just pay their ticket, basically, or what?
That is their choice. They can go to court to argue it if they choose to.
Okay. Well, I didn't have any problem with the recommendations, although they're not very much of a deterrent. You know, I mean, $25, that's less than the cost of one of these illegal fireworks going up in the sky. So, but you know, if our limit's 100, it makes sense to escalate offenses. So, if we must, I suppose 25 is a good amount.
If somebody's going to have, let's say they have a fireworks show, even just in their neighborhood, outside of the dates proposed in here, what avenues do they have to legally do that if this is adopted?
Currently, there's nothing written into the ordinance regarding like a permit process. There is an event permit that usually is in conjunction with road use. Assumedly, if they were going to have such an event, they would be in the roadway to do it and not in their yard right next to the houses. And that process does discuss noise. I believe there is a process in the city of Papillion, I'm not sure about the other cities, where they do have that kind of permitting process, and that is something that we can look at moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we want to have the ability for people to have celebrations. And I know they already exist, like at Warner Park, places like that. They shoot off fireworks every Friday night, you know, so, and actually you can, I didn't know that, but you could do that anywhere in the county, as long, and I don't even know if it requires a permit, does it? I think all we ask is that people give the sheriff's office a courtesy notification that it's going to occur. And it's never really been an issue. So I don't know if we need to actually have a permit process or just keep doing the status quo, but.
It's something we can definitely look at.
Yeah, whatever you guys recommend. Does anybody have any other comments then? So what would the motion be on this?
I have it, if you want me to read it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I move to approve the amendments to an ordinance to establish a law regarding disorderly conduct, including firework use, to establish a penalty and provide a method of enforcement, and to provide an effective date with the following amendments to the proposed draft. Section 5, penalty, shall read, any person found to be in violation of Section 2 of this ordinance shall be fined $50 for each offense, as permitted by Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 23-187, subsection 2. Any person found to be in violation of Section 3 of this ordinance shall be fined as permitted by Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 23-187, subsection 2, as follows. First offense, $25. Second offense, $50. Third and subsequent offense, each $100. Fines shall be determined based upon the number of offenses recorded within a rolling 12-month period.
The motion is longer than the ordinance.
Leave it to the
Can I get
lawyer.
a second?
I'm not going to second that.
Down here, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, good. We have a motion by Burmeister as amended and a second by Commissioner Warren. Any further discussion on this one?
Yeah, I guess I'll just, I mean, it seems like a bit much. People going out and enjoying some fireworks, you know, a couple times a year. It's just, it's another layer of bureaucracy and ordinances that would put your typically law-abiding citizen into potential jeopardy. And I don't support it.
Okay, any
Annie,
other comments?
is the sheriff's office asking for this ordinance?
Yes, they have been.
Because why? They're having problems with people lighting off fireworks or complaints, or do you know?
Over the last few years, there have been a number of complaints, and the request, it has come actually from a number of places, the sheriff's office. I know that some of the commissioners have received the complaints as well. And the request has come just to kind of provide a guideline for people so that there is an end, so that there are people that out there that just want to know when it's going to stop. So.
And there is some benefit, I think, to having some uniformity between the cities and the county, because if you've got people shooting fireworks off in a SID that's right outside the city limits, operating under a different set of parameters and constraints, it confuses the public. So I don't disagree with your comments necessarily, but I do think there's some advantage to trying to line up our enforcement with what the cities have been doing for years. So, any other comments?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think we had the motion by Burmeister and the second by Warren. Please vote.
Ayes 4, nays Klug, motion carried.
Okay, 6.5 is the final reading on Resolution 399, which is establish a law regarding public nudity and establish a penalty and provide a method of enforcement. Andrea?
As with the last ordinance, this one, it just requires a motion by the board, which would include a set number, a dollar amount for the fines. There has been a proposed fine amount of $100, but that amount is up to the board within the limits of the $500 maximum that was published.
I'm fine with that. Do you want to do that motion too?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll second it. Whatever she said.
You got to recite it
some fun.
verbatim.
Listen carefully.
You do need me to read it in, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve the amendments to an ordinance to establish a law regarding public nudity, to establish a penalty and provide a method of enforcement, and to provide for an effective date with the following amendments to the proposed draft. Section 4, penalty, shall read, any person found to be in violation of this ordinance shall be fined $100 for each offense as permitted by Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 23-187, subsection 2.
Okay, the motion by, amended motion by Commissioner Burmeister and a second by Commissioner Warren. Any further discussion on this resolution? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none.
Okay, 401 is the final reading and adoption of the amendments to ordinance to establish snow emergency policy. Andrea, anything on this one?
Nothing on this one. The amendments to this just involve some formatting changes and language updates.
Okay, well, then in that case, I'll make a motion to approve 401.
Second.
Okay, motion by Kelly, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, 6.7 is the final reading and adoption of proposed amendment for an ordinance to establish a law regarding peddlers, hawkers, and solicitors. Andrea, anything on this one?
No, the updates to this one are involving just the addition of an additional exemption to the permit process. Fairly straightforward.
Okay.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Any discussion on this final reading and resolution? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, the last two items are, involve sewer agency actions that we need to complete. The first one's Resolution 344, which has been tabled twice, and this is adopting and approving the policies and procedures for the growth management plan. Dan Hoynes, Agency Administrator and County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Approval of this ordinance will allow the agency to prioritize areas of land development and growth within the agency jurisdiction to provide for consistency. This was approved by the sewer agency on a 6-0 vote on August 26th. Subsequently has been ratified by the cities of Papillion, La Vista, Gretna, and Springfield. The only two remaining members of the agency pending approval are Sarpy County and the City of Bellevue. So as the Sarpy County Administrator, I'd respectfully request you approve this item.
Okay. Questions for Dan? Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion?
And Dan, you said the vote in the sewer agency was a unanimous vote, right?
Yes, Commissioner Burmeister.
Any other questions? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, 6.9 is Resolution 339. These are the revised sewer rates and connection fees. Dan?
Also, from the August 26th sewer agency meeting, going back to even 2018 when the sewer agency adopted their initial rates, they proposed yearly incremental increases. And every time we change rates, it requires ratification by each member. The rates are programmed in, and the item before you is a 3% in connection fees and 5% in rates. That allows us to trend the economics through the life of the project and cash flow it. So this has also been approved by the four previously aforementioned cities, pending Sarpy County and the City of Bellevue, but again, a 6-0 vote. So respectfully request you approve that.
Okay. Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Warren and a second by Mixon to approve Resolution 339, which was tabled previously on the 3rd and 10th of November. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, item 7, executive sessions not required, so we'll move on to adjournment. And I'll state that all agenda items have been addressed as published, and the Board of Commissioners is adjourned. Okay. At 3:02, we went into recess on the Board of Equalization. I'd like to reconvene the Board of Equalization meeting at this time and come back to where we left off, which is item 6, executive session.
For the protection of the public interest, I move we go into executive session to discuss a legal matter.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Mixon, a second by Commissioner Klug to go into executive session. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Okay, and you get it on our agenda next week. And right now, we are planning to meet here. If that changes, I'll let everybody know. Thanks.